that feeds on mortal outrage, we are here to cultivate moral courage. In a time that prizes picking sides, we gather to draw a wider circle. And in a culture that teaches us to get for what we give and to ask what's in it for me, we come to practice generosity and to remember we are all in this together. In the midst of life's bitterness, we choose to sing, to give thanks, to laugh together, and to be keepers of beauty, to offer a place of belonging for all who come, in gladness and in pain, to resist the push to the next moment, and the next to slow down, to breathe more deeply, to feel a part of something greater for this hour and in this space. Let us be the change we wish to see. Come, let us worship together. Please rise and Please rise in body or in spirit for our opening hymn, Listening. The words are in your order of service.
Good morning. My name is Kaylee Theme, and the story I have for you today is Eats Kindness by Jacqueline Woodson. Let's move this over. That winter snow fell on everything, turning the world a brilliant white. One morning, as we settled into our seats, the classroom door opened and the principal came in. She had a girl with her, and she said to us, "This is Maya." Maya looked down at the floor. I think I heard her whisper, "Hello?" We all stared at her. Her coat was open, and the clothes beneath it looked old and ragged. Her shoes were spring shoes, not meant for the snow. A strap on one of them had broken. Our teacher, Miss Albert, said, "Say good morning to our new students." But most of us were silent. The only empty seat was next to me. That's where our teacher put Maya. On that first day, Maya turned to me and smiled. But I didn't smile back. I moved my chair, myself, and my books a little further away from her. When she looked my way, I turned to the window and looked out at the snow. And every other day after that, when Maya came into the classroom, I looked away and didn't smile back. My best friends that year were Kendra and Sophie. At lunchtime, we walked around the schoolyard, our fingers laced together, whispering secrets into each other's ears. One day, when we were near the slide, Maya came over to us. She held out in her hand to show us the shiny jacks and red balls she had gotten for her birthday. "It's a high bouncer," she said. But none of us wanted to play. So Maya played a game by herself. That afternoon, when we got back into the classroom, Maya whispered to me, "Bet you can't guess who the new Jacks champion of the world is." Behind me, Andrew whispered, "Chloe's got a new friend. Chloe's got a new friend." "She's not my friend," I whispered back. And the weeks passed. Every day, we would whisper at Maya, laughing at her clothes, her shoes, the strange foods she brought for lunch. Some days, Maya held out in her hand to show us what she brought to school. A deck of cards, pick-up sticks, a small, tattered doll. Whenever she asked us to play, we would say no. The days grew warmer and warmer. The pond thawed. The grass began growing where snow had once been. One day, Maya came to school wearing a pretty dress and fancy shoes. But the shoes and dress looked like they belonged to another girl before Maya. "I have a new name for her," Kendra whispered. "Never knew. Everything she has came from a secondhand store." We all laughed. Maya stood by the fence. She was holding a jump rope, but did not come over to ask us if we wanted to play. After a while, she folded it, double-rolled the ends around each hand, and started jumping. She jumped around the whole schoolyard without stopping. She didn't look up once, just jumped, jumped, jumped. The next day, Maya's seat was empty. In class that morning, we were talking about kindness. Miss Albert had brought a big bowl into class and filled it with water. We all gathered around the desk and watched her drop a small stone into it. Tiny waves rippled out away from the stone. "This is what kindness does," Miss Albert said. "Each little thing we do goes out like a ripple into the world." Then Miss Albert let us each drop a stone in as we told her what kind thing we had done. Joseph had held the door open for his grandmother. Kendra helped change her baby brother's diaper. Even mean old Albert had done something. "I carried teacher's books up the stairs," he said. "And Miss Albert said it was true?" I stood there, holding Miss Albert's rock in my hand, silent. "Even small things count," Miss Albert said gently, but I couldn't think of anything, so I passed that stone on. Maya didn't come to school the next day, or the day after that. Each morning, I walked to school slowly, hoping this would be the day Maya would return and she'd look at me and smile. I promised this would be the day that I would smile back. "Each kindness," Miss Albert had said, "makes the whole world a little bit better." But Maya's seat remained empty. And one day, Miss Albert announced to class that Maya wouldn't be coming back. Her family had to move away, Miss Albert said. She told us to take out our notebooks. It was time for spelling. That afternoon, I walked home alone. When I reached the pond, my throat filled with all the things I wish I would have said to Maya. Each kindness I had never shown. I threw small stones into it over and over, watching the way the water rippled out and away, out and away. Like each kindness, done and not done. Like every girl somewhere, holding a small gift out to someone, and that someone turning away from it. I watched the water ripple as the sun set through the maples, and the chance of the kindness of Maya became more and more forever gone. The end.
Thank you, Kaylee, for that haunting story. We are in the midst of our month-long pledge drive, and Miles Pointer Mace will be offering our pledge drive testimonial.
As my role in First Church, I speak it. Values. Speak it. I say pledge drive, you say goals met. Pledge drive. Goals met. Pledge drive. Goals met. 2, 4, 6, 8. Who do we appreciate? You and you and you and you and you.
We have pledge team members in the Lean House Common Room during coffee hour, available to answer any questions that you have and help you submit your pledge. Our goal is for everyone to participate in supporting our community this year and to increase your pledge by 2, 4, 6, or 8%. Every single one of our voluntary contributions is important. Please contribute your piece of our puzzle to our Pledge Drive project, the original mural of a flaming chalice by Pat Hidson, though I think it's pretty full at this point. How does this community light your internal flame? How do you fan the flame of community? Stop by the mural and help us complete the art project, if it's not done yet, by sharing what this community means to you. Thank you.
Today, our meditation is an interactive game of inclusion catch. This game will require you to use your imagination as you give and receive freely and creatively. We know that church is a place where we practice being fully human with one another, and this game is a fun way we can practice being inclusive with one another. This is how it works. Miles, will you help me demonstrate? Okay. In a few minutes, I will ask you to stand and make eye contact with somebody in the sanctuary who is not sitting next to you. Maybe somebody you don't even know. They will be your partner for our silent imaginary game of catch. Miles is my partner, and I will call out different imaginary objects that we are going to play catch with. Let's begin with something simple, a big softball. I'm going to look at my partner and make sure they're ready, then see if I'm giving or receiving the ball. Looks like Miles is ready to play, so I'm going to gently toss this big imaginary softball back and forth with him without talking. That's how it works. Now, we're going to give and receive with one another. I will announce new objects to play silent catch with. The game of catch will change, so listen carefully and act accordingly. How you play silent imaginary catch with a ball will be different than how you play with a feather. Everyone ready? Let us begin. Please stand as you are willing and able and begin to look around the sanctuary for your catch partner. Begin with a big softball. Okay, the football season may be over, but let's get out the footballs anyways. Can you toss a perfect spiral to your partner? You're doing great. Next, let's try something tricky. How about tossing an egg back and forth? Let's Let's try something really challenging. How about that feather we talked about earlier? Okay, thank you all for playing so generously with one another. All right. We will now all catch our breaths with a few moments of silence, followed by the seated singing of Spirit of Life.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Welcome to the First Unitarian Society of Milwaukee. My name is Vera Lafort, and I'm pleased to serve as your worship associate. We are a faith community of many identities. We welcome people of all genders, sexualities, ages, races, ethnicities, histories, and bodies. We welcome your mind, your heart, and your spirit. We welcome all you are carrying with you today and all your heart longs to set down. We welcome all people watching online as we live stream this service. Hello, online folks. We enthusiastically welcome guests joining us today. If you are a visiting guest, we invite you to fill out a welcome card located in the pew rack in front of you and drop it in the offering plates that will come around in a few minutes. After the service, please join us for a social hour across the hall in the Lean House Common Room. Some accessibility notes. You can find hearing assist devices and large print hymnals and orders of service at the back of the sanctuary, as well as worship activity bags for children and anyone who wants them. There is a fragrance-free section in the front right pews, and if you're watching online, you can enable YouTube's closed captioning on your viewing device. The service today is a multi-generational service, so we have a special activity coloring bingo book for anyone who wants another way to connect with our service today. children can get a prize by completing up to 4 bingo lines on the activity book and bringing it to the RE table after the service. Please raise your hand and one of our youths will bring you a service activity bingo book. We have one announcement today. The annual survey is open. The link to the survey appears in your order of service. Please complete the survey as soon as possible. We need the information to determine if we are serving you. I welcome you to share in our first church worship and purpose by inviting you to join me in a unison affirmation of our mission, which is printed in your order of service. We gather to nurture the spirit, engage the mind, and inspire action.
Every week, we have an opportunity to practice our values through sharing our resources. Our pledges are at the core of our spiritual practice of generosity. In addition, the church shares half of all non-pledge cash in our offering plate with the community organization practicing our value of interdependence. Today, we share the plate with Environmental Youth Collaborative, a group of summer environmental youth-serving organizations that collectively employ over 160 youths each summer at an estimated 22,700 hours of youth employment. This collaborative features a strong diversity of programming in arts, engineering, education, social equity, and more. The offering will now be gratefully received as we sing our offering hymn number 311, Let It Be a Dance, in the gray hymnal. Today is a multi-generational service, so children, you will stay in the sanctuary today. Please do not leave. We will begin singing seated, but we invite you to join us in dancing after the offering plate passes you. May the practice of giving bring us joy.
Miss Eleanor Polson, and when we asked the youth group what inclusion was, they said,
setting biases aside and welcoming community.
Inclusion is inviting someone to be with you when they have no one else who they're friends with.
Inclusion is letting everybody know that they have a place.
not everyone's answer is the same. We had the chance to explore the idea of inclusion through our stories by working with Dasha Kelly Hamilton. Dasha is a spoken word artist, a Wisconsin poet laureate who helped us develop the stories you'll hear today. Dasha was engaging. She was good at helping us pull out our stories. She simplified a story to us by saying, objective plus obstacle equals plot, which was very helpful for us, and in itself was an act of inclusion to make sure everybody understood that they had a story worthy of telling. For us, talking about inclusion also means talking about exclusion in our stories. The stories we are sharing today follow a path that starts at exclusion and moves towards inclusion. Today, our youth group realizes how important inclusion is, now more than ever. That telling these stories of inclusion can help spread the importance and hope of a more welcoming society and world. We notice that different perspectives change your view of inclusion. When we step back, we start to notice a larger perspective, or the big picture. Imagine you are standing on the balcony of the sanctuary. You would see more of the congregation. You would see more of the people, specifically the groups of people. You would maybe notice the families, the elders, the choir sitting together, technical people, worship speakers, and guests. And you might generalize about these people as groups and have expectations about the type of people they are. But what would you really know? Sometimes we judge what is not known to us, and that can lead to exclusion. However, by moving closer, knowing more about someone, who they are, it often makes it harder to exclude someone. If you can make a connection, perhaps know their name or something about their family, well, then it will be harder for you to purposely exclude them as you realize maybe they aren't so different from you, or maybe not what you expected. Both inclusion and exclusion have a powerful ripple effect. The good effects of inclusion ripple into and shape our world. And the bad effects, well, they make ripples of division that can keep us apart unless we learn from these stories of inclusion and take action. This is an invitation to hear our stories of inclusion and exclusion, and then to reflect, and hopefully take inspiration and action to make the world a little kinder. We begin with the words of Shel Silverstein. If you are a dreamer, come in. If you are a dreamer, a wisher, a liar, a hoper, a prayer, a magic bean buyer. If you're a pretender, come sit by my fire, for we have some golden tales to spin. Come in, come in.
In my middle school, our theater class grade is based after if you try, not if you succeed. I didn't think I was gonna like it, but our teacher, Miss R, is joyful and nice. She's a calming teacher that helps me more than I thought. And I liked it more than I thought. The story I'm sharing is about theater class, and I've changed all the names in this story to protect everyone's identity. One of the kids in my class, Jackson is a tall, athletic kid in my class who is smart. So smart, he's 2 grades above his age level and 2 grades above his math level. However, sometimes he's not as mature as the other people in our grade. 4 weeks into theater class, Miss R gives us the assignment to write a 99-word script. The script can be about anything you want, but you have to write it back to back with a partner. I choose to work with my dear friend Dylan. We get right to work because 99 words is a lot to write in 45 minutes. When we're about halfway through or 62 words in, Jackson starts yelling at Sophia. That doesn't make sense. Why do I have to be your partner? Your writing will never make any sense. Sophia, the new girl, no one really knows anything about her. As she snaps back at him, yelling, if my writing doesn't make sense, then your writing's absolute nonsense. Everyone was shocked. And then they keep going back and forth until they're both screaming at each other at the top of their lungs. Miss R leaps in to stop them and has to escort both of them to the office. So class gets out early, since there's no going back to writing after that. Everyone is gossiping for the next 15 minutes about what had just happened. The next time we have theater class, they still have to finish their script together. Neither of them are happy about this. The rest of us were worried and curious about what would happen next. As they start writing, they start fighting. First about who writes first, then about how much each person writes, and it begins to look like Jackson's gonna whip up the paper into little pieces. But instead, he runs out and tells Miss R his side of the story, which is much different than Sophia's story. Then Sophia begins to tell her side of the story, making him look worse, and it turns out their script never got finished. It only got to 84 words. Jackson and Sophia return to the principal's office, and the principal decides that they should be separated in theater class and not partnered again. But the battle is not over between them. They continue to get back at each other slowly by sabotaging each other in small ways. They do this by stealing each other's ideas, taking each other's supplies, and finding any way to show everyone how much they hate each other. Because of this conflict, it makes everything in class annoying and exhausting for everyone. What I have learned about witnessing all of this is that sometimes when people have a bad beginning, they never learn how to give someone a chance. When this happens, they can never grow to like each other or even know each other. Because of this situation right from the start, they were so mad at each other it got out of hand. And kind of crazy. So crazy that no teacher, no principal could ever fix this broken relationship. Though the rest of us have accepted and included both Jackson and Sophia in our school communities, they still have not accepted each other within their own community. If you are determined to exclude someone, any person, you can and will. Jackson and Sophia were so caught up in anger that they would do anything to make each other mad, even cover up the truth of who they are, the truth that they are both normal, usually good people who have hard times containing their feelings. I hope someday they can let go of their grudge against each other and grow to work well together, or at least peacefully.
I'm Susie Larson, and I'm kind of getting over a cold right now, so I might sound a little raspy, but I think I can try to get my message across. One thing about me is I love Girl Scouts. It's the organization that brought me to my 4 closest friends and dozens of opportunities that shaped my life story. As my mom puts it, Girl Scouts is about building courage, character, and confidence. I remember the day in kindergarten with my manila folder, handing out the info slips to the first 7 girls that I saw, starting with my friends. I remember 2 girls that joined our troop. I'll call them Heather and Kendra for this story. Heather had some variety of neurodivergency I'm still unsure of, along with a challenging out-of-school life. Kendra was one of the elementary school jocks who spent time in the hospital from a significant autoimmune disease, along with a troubling home containing marital issues, and neither girl had an easy life. Heather had troubles at school, especially with peers, while Kendra had a surplus of friends with her at all times. For both girls, Girl Scouts was an amazing program. Once, when Kendra was hospitalized, the troop spent the day writing cards for her, hoping she'd feel our support. Being in a hospital is very scary, but to be there before the age of 10 must have been terrifying. The troop was thrilled to see her back in our meetings, and we greeted her with smiles and relief. For Heather, the buddy systems we used in all of our Girl Scout activities helped her build connections, as it was otherwise a challenge for her to make friends. We would often pick our buddies. Sometimes we'd have assigned buddies, and if you want to party, you'd have a truddy. Usually our Girl Scout leaders would assign me or my friend to be with Heather, and we would just do it because we were raised to know that everybody should be included. This followed our Girl Scout law, to be a sister to every Girl Scout. Heather had a speech impediment, which made it hard for other kids to really understand her, but being buddied with her showed me how smart she is and how good she was at drawing. When Kendra would be assigned to buddy with Heather, every time without fail, she simply would not. She would be found in a truddy with her friends, leaving Heather all alone, and I can only imagine how that must have felt for Heather. I know that treatment would have made me feel very out of place and almost like a burden to be partnered with. I think Kendra couldn't see or didn't care how she was impacting Heather's world, and I still have no clue what her intentions were. She might have had a perfectly fine reason, but I'll never know because I wasn't interested in surrounding myself with mean people. It's worth mentioning how much my mom and the Girl Scout moms talked extensively with our troop about how to treat others, putting an emphasis on being a sister to every Girl Scout. But Kendra still just wouldn't be Heather's partner. This perplexed me. I couldn't understand what her reasons were and how her behavior didn't drag on her conscience. I'm lucky. Growing up in this church, empathy and strong morals are all I've known. After recently talking about Girl Scouts with my Girl Scouts experience with my mom, reflecting with a much more grown-up mind, I have come to know how beneficial Girl Scouts was for Heather, myself, and our entire troop, even the moms. It's where we learned how to practice inclusion and sisterhood. You might be happy to know that Heather has been doing well with her own group of friends now in high school. Kendra also has a wide group of friends, but I'm not sure they're very nice either. I'm grateful for getting to know Heather. Knowing her has taught me an invaluable lesson in treating others with every bit of respect and kindness that I could. First Church and Girl Scouts, along with some awesome parents, has shown me that nothing brings more completeness than creating a loving community which works to make every single person feel welcome.
If you know the words, sing along. You've got a friend in me. You've got a friend in me. When the road looks rough ahead and you're miles and miles from a nice warm bed, you just remember what your old pal said. Son, you've got a friend in me. Yeah, you got a friend
Hello, my name is Jasper Murray Bentz, and I'm here to tell you about a story about how inclusion has been a part of my life. Brian is a kind, hardworking, selfless kid. He's one of those friends that you really wish for. He is polite and always is trying to help others. Brian's family owned a local restaurant, and he was always working and was very diligent about doing so. This meant that he was only able to hang out on weekends, from 1 to 3 during his lunch break. Even though it was only 2 hours, these were some of the best 2 hours of the week, and created some of my great memories. Brian and I walked home from school every day together. It was kind of like our own little mini tradition. One May in 7th grade, we were walking home. And like any other day, we were talking about summer and how it was so near and it was gonna be great. And then Brian dropped a bomb. He told me that he was moving to South Carolina in 2 weeks. At this point, I was stunned. I never really pondered the possibility that one of my friends would move away. I didn't really know what to say. The rest of the walk was pretty silent. It was me, my thoughts, and one of my best friends. I wondered what the chances were that he was just joking. He wasn't the person to joke about that kind of stuff, especially if it was serious. After I was home, I told my friends, and none of them believed me. But when school rolled around the next day, and they asked Brian, the looks on their faces changed from, he's joking, to, oh, he's telling the truth. We asked Brian important questions, like when he was leaving, but other than that, we avoided the subject. Days changed into weeks. Before I knew it, Brian was leaving. At this point, he couldn't socialize much out of school because he was packing up and helping his family get ready to go. Right before he left, we showed up at his house to give him some small gifts and say our final goodbye. It felt too quick. It just happened all at once. Fast forward about a month, a letter showed up on my doorstep with Brian's new number and home address. From that point on, we stayed in contact through letters and calling each other. Brian shared that he was lonely all summer with no way to meet new people in a new place. When school started, he struggled to weave himself into formed, tightly knit friend groups. He is friendly with plenty of people, but after moving, he had no one to call his best friend. During this time, our friend group was aware of his situation, but didn't really know how to help. We stayed connected with Brian because the school provided Chromebooks that allowed us to Google Meet and see each other's faces. It was the first time I'd seen his face in months. We would Google Meet about twice a month for a couple hours each time. We just talked and played games. During one of these meetings, we brought up Halloween because it was right around the corner. Brian mentioned that he couldn't trick or treat because he lives in a rural area where the houses aren't close enough together to go from house to house. We had always trick or treated together. It was another one of our traditions, something that we did every October. After that Google Meet, me and my friends devised a plan to include Brian with our trick or treating. We worked together during Halloween to collect Brian's favorite candy, Twix, and mail our Twix collection to him. The night of Halloween, a group of 7 or more friends were on a mission to collect as many Twix candy bars as we could. We worked diligently throughout the night and in total managed to collect over 200 Twix bars and around 15 king-size Twix bars to add on. A couple days after that, me and my friends went to the postal office and mailed the candy to Brian in a big box. It felt good picking up the call from Brian about a week later. It was good to talk to him. I could hear the gratitude in his voice. It felt like he was here with us, and we were just together again, not like he was across the country. Even though it took time and effort, making sure he was included in our lives was absolutely worth it. We still see each other on Google Meet and laugh about all those Twix bars. I do not think he's finished them all yet. I know our extra effort in including Brian during Halloween helped us strengthen our connections as friends. Showing extra care for special people in our lives is always worth it.
Today, we would like to show you all some extra care and include you in sharing some Twix candy bars with all of you. The youth group will be handing out some Twix bars at the end of the service today. Have a good day.
As we light this flame of hope, may our congregation become a kaleidoscope of souls and people, an abstract flame-like pattern in bright gold colors and a black background. In the presence of this flame, in me, in you, in us, is an invitation to sit at the table. May we tend our soul fire through these challenging and trying times, to open the hearts and minds of all who enter our doors. Please rise in body or in spirit to sing our recessional hymn, Go Now in Peace, number 413.